You felt it. Right there. In front of everyone. Someone spoke to you like you were nothing. And you froze. You smiled. You let it pass. But 5 seconds later, it started burning inside you. And 5 hours later, you were still replaying it, thinking of everything you should have said but didn't. Here is the uncomfortable truth most people will never tell you. That moment of silence was not neutral. It was a message, a very clear one. It told them they can do it again. And they will, every single time. Because people do not test strength. They test permission. And if you keep giving it, they will keep taking more. This is where it changes. Because what you are about to learn is not about arguing better or becoming aggressive. It is about something far more dangerous. Calm control. The kind of control that makes people instantly regret underestimating you. The kind that shifts the entire room without you raising your voice. Most people get this wrong their whole lives. They think respect is something you earn slowly, something you prove, something you wait for. That belief is exactly why they keep getting disrespected. Respect is not given to the loudest person. It is given to the clearest one, the one who knows exactly where they stand. And if you stay with me right now, I am going to show you 6 precise responses. Simple, calm, almost invisible, but powerful enough to stop disrespect immediately and make people think twice before ever trying again. Before we go further, I want you to do one thing. Hit subscribe right now. Because the version of you that knows how to respond is a completely different person from the one who stays silent. You are not weak. You were just never taught this. You remember the moment more clearly than you want to admit. It was quick, almost casual. A comment slipped in front of others, just sharp enough to sting. You felt it immediately, but you said nothing. You smiled. You let it pass. And later alone, it kept replaying in your mind like a loop you could not turn off. That is where most people stay stuck. Not in the moment itself, but in the silence that followed it. Because that silence was not empty. It was a signal, and the people around you heard it louder than any words you could have said. Here's what most people never realize. Disrespect is rarely accidental. It is a quiet test. People watch how you carry yourself before they decide how far they can go. They are not just listening to your words. They are reading your reactions. And when you do nothing, you answer the question for them. You tell them there is no consequence. That is why the same pattern repeats again and again until you decide to change it. Not by becoming louder, not by becoming aggressive, but by becoming clear. The first shift begins with something that feels almost counterintuitive. When someone throws a comment meant to undermine you, you do not resist it. You agree, but only on your terms. You say it simply, without tension, without apology, as if there's nothing to defend. In that moment, something unusual happens. The energy they were trying to create collapses. There is no conflict to grab onto, no reaction to feed on. You remain steady, and that steadiness unsettles them more than any argument ever could. Because you did not shrink and you did not fight. You stood still. Then comes the second response, and this is where clarity becomes your strongest tool. Disrespect often hides behind vague language. It lives in half jokes and subtle tones, just unclear enough to deny. Instead of reacting emotionally, you ask one simple question. You ask them to explain, calmly, directly. No edge in your voice, just a request for clarity. And suddenly the situation shifts. What was once hidden now has to be said out loud. Most people cannot do that. They hesitate. They retreat. And without raising your voice, you have already taken control of the moment. But not every situation ends in one exchange. Some people repeat their behavior because they believe there is no real boundary. This is where the third response becomes necessary. You do not react every time. You do not build silent frustration. You choose one moment and you draw a clear line. You say you will let it pass this time, but not again. No anger, no threat, just certainty. And here is what makes this powerful. You mean it. Because when your words and your actions align, people feel it immediately. They understand that something has changed even if you never raise your voice. As you begin to hold that line, something else becomes clear. Many acts of disrespect are not just comments. They are attempts to control the situation, to place you in a defensive position. That is why the fourth response matters so much. You refuse to step into that role. When someone interrupts you or challenges you in a way meant to diminish you, you do not rush to explain. You pause. You acknowledge Then you continue, calmly, as if nothing has shifted your position. This is not about proving anything. It is about maintaining your frame. And the moment you do that, the entire dynamic changes. Because you are no longer reacting. You are leading. There's also a response that says almost nothing at all, yet speaks the loudest. Real indifference. Not the kind you perform, not the kind you fake, but the kind that comes from a genuine decision that not every comment deserves your energy. When you stop feeding attention into behavior designed to provoke you, it begins to lose its purpose. You look, you register, and you move on. No emotion attached. No story created. And over time, people learn that there is nothing to gain from trying to pull a reaction out of you. That is when the behavior stops. Finally, there is a response reserved for patterns, not moments. When something has happened more than once, when it is no longer an isolated incident but a repeated behavior, you name it, calmly, directly. You speak about what you have observed, not what you feel. You point out that it keeps happening and that you see it clearly. This removes every excuse. It removes the ability to pretend it was accidental. And most importantly, it creates awareness. Because once someone knows they are being seen, they either adjust or they reveal exactly who they are. Either way, you gain clarity. Underneath all 6 of these responses is something deeper than words. It is belief. The belief that you do not need to earn basic respect. That it is not something given after approval or validation. It is the standard you set from the beginning. And when that belief becomes real, it changes everything. Your posture, your tone, the way you hold silence without rushing to fill it. People sense it before you even speak. So the next time that moment happens, and it will do not fall back into the old pattern. Do not replay it later wishing you had acted differently. Choose one response. Just one. Use it. Feel the shift. Because the moment you stop teaching people that you can be disrespected, they begin to learn something new. And that lesson stays. This is the part most people never reach. Not because it is hard, but because they stop right before everything changes. They understand the words, but they never become the person who can use them. Because here is the truth that sits underneath all 6 responses. It was never about the sentences. It was about the standard. The moment you stop negotiating your worth in small, silent ways, everything shifts. The room feels it before you even speak. The energy changes. People hesitate. Not because you became aggressive, but because you became certain. Think about that moment again. The one you keep replaying. Now imagine it happening differently. Not louder. Not dramatic, just one calm response, one clear line. That is all it takes to rewrite the entire outcome. And once you do it once, you do not go back because you finally see what was always missing. Not confidence, not strength, just clarity. So here's what I want you to do next. Do not try to remember everything. Pick one response, just one, and use it the next time someone tests you. That moment will come sooner than you think. And when it does, do not hesitate. If you made it this far, subscribe right now. Because this is not just about handling disrespect. This is about becoming someone people think twice about before crossing. And before you leave, comment below which response you are using first. Say it clearly. Because the moment you say it, you begin to believe it. You were never the easy target. You just acted like one.